Robert Mueller, former special counsel and dad who totally knows when you've been smoking. For 2 years, his investigation into Trump, Russia, and election meddling have consumed the nation and its news. And when he finally released his 450-page report, many thought it would shake America to its core. The only issue was, it was 450 pages too long. And because it didn't contain any boy wizards, no one wanted to read it. In fact, this is true. Polls show that only 7% of Americans have read the entire report. Yes, and the other 93% were like, I'll just wait for the movie. Well, today the movie came out, because today, Robert Mueller testified live on Capitol Hill.
The president has repeatedly claimed that your report found there was no obstruction and that it completely and totally exonerated him. But that is not what your report said, is it?
Correct. It is not what the report said.
And what about total exoneration? Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No.
Now, in fact, your report expressly states that it does not exonerate the president.
It does.
Under Department of Justice policy, the president could be prosecuted for obstruction of justice crimes after he leaves office, is correct?
True.
Whoa. Yeah, according to Robert Mueller, the president can be charged with obstruction of justice once he leaves office. So you know what that means? Trump is never leaving office. Yeah. He hears that, the Secret Service is going to be banging on the Oval Office door like, sir, you need to leave. He'd be like, no housekeeping, thank you. So for the Democrats, the Mueller hearing got off to a great start. Within the first 5 minutes, Mueller confirmed that his report did not exonerate Trump and that he could go to prison after he leaves office. But to be honest, this was as good as it got. Because when the Democrats tried to get Mueller to give them juicy sound bites, beyond a simple yes or no, he just didn't take the bait.
On that same page, page 97, do you see where there's the intent section on that page?
I do see that.
Part C. All right. Would you be willing to read the first sentence?
And that was starting with
Substantial evidence.
indicates that the president's.
Yeah, if you could read that first sentence, would you be willing to do that?
I'm happy to have you read it.
Okay, I will read it then.
Yeah, nice try, nice try. But Mueller isn't playing those games. Yes, he's like the world's least cooperative audiobook. Chapter 1, you know what? You know how to read, go get the book. Read it yourself. And because Mueller refused to read out damning passages of his own report for the cameras, some Democrats thought it would be a good idea to take matters into their own hands, and Mueller just wouldn't play along.
Donald Trump, 1, committed an obstructive act. 2, connected to an official proceeding. 3, did so with corrupt intent. Those are the elements of obstruction of justice. This is the United States of America. No one is above the law. No one. The president must be held accountable one way or the other.
Now, let me just say, if I might, I don't subscribe necessarily to your the way you analyze that. I'm not saying it's out of the ballpark, but I'm not supportive of that analytical charge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have you guys ever seen those videos where a player will shoot a three-point shot and then they celebrate, but the ball just bounces off the rim? Have you seen that? That was the Congressional version of that shot. That's what that was. Because Jeffries was confident. He was confident Mueller was on his side, yeah? And then he didn't know what to say afterwards. He's just like, thank you. It's like when you're trying to win an argument and your friend doesn't help. Mike agrees with me, right, Mike? No, I don't. My man. So that was basically the entire day for the Democrats, right? It started off well, but they really tried to get Mueller to give them the soundbite that would help them end the Trump presidency. But he just kept on rejecting them like a special counsel Dikembe Mutombo. Just like, no, no, no. And as for the Republicans, they had a very different agenda to the Democrats today. You see, they were trying to portray Mueller as incompetent, inconsistent, and biased. They brought up the fact that most of his investigators supported Hillary Clinton. They complained that Mueller contradicted himself, and they even argued that he couldn't be fair to Trump because he was friends with some of Trump's enemies.
You and James Comey have been good friends or were good friends for many years, correct?
We were business associates. We both started off in the Justice Department about the
You were
same
good
time.
friends. You can work together and not be friends, but you and Comey were friends.
We were friends.
Oh, man. Poor James Comey. Imagine finding out your friend isn't your friend in front of a live national audience. Yeah, because in interviews, Comey was like, this guy's my ride or die. And now Mueller's like, we only hung out because he had a Nintendo, okay? And in defense of that Republican congressman, I get why he was so, like, into this. It's important for him to make this distinction. He was like, just because you work with someone doesn't mean you're friends, because I'm not friends with Ted Cruz. You hear me? I am not friends with Ted Cruz. So after 7 hours of testimony, the truth is, we didn't learn anything new. And to be fair, Robert Mueller warned us about this a couple of months ago. He said, if you call me to testify, I won't tell you anything new. So he spent most of the hearing today telling the rest of us to do our homework.
When you talk about the president's pattern of conduct, that would include the 10 possible acts of obstruction that you investigated, correct?
I direct you to the report for how that is characterized.
Did McCann do what the president asked?
I refer you to the report. Again, I send you the report for where that is stated. I refer you to the report. I direct you again to the report. I refer to the report on that episode. Refer you to the report if I could. I would send you back to the report.
I refer you to the report. Poor Robert Mueller, man. The guy spent 2 years writing up an incredibly thorough document, and now people are badgering him with questions he's already answered. It would be like if Jesus came back, and then we spent hours asking him to explain stuff that was in the Bible. Mr. Christ, the book of Exodus says that a man should not covet his neighbor's wife. But what if she's, like, really hot? I think I've answered this in the scriptures. Yeah, but I'm talking like smoking hot. Come on! Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Today was never about learning anything new from the Mueller report. Here's what it was. Democrats wanted Mueller to condemn Trump on camera so they would have those bites. Because a lot of people haven't read the report. And Republicans wanted to use this opportunity so that Mueller could try and admit that the whole thing was biased from the start. But to his credit, Robert Mueller refused to play partisan games. He was impartial, as his report is. Well, I assume impartial as his report is. I haven't read it. I mean, come on now. The point is, Mueller wasn't going to give anybody the answers that they wanted to hear, including our own correspondents. I sent them to Washington, D.C. with questions of their own.
Mr. Mueller, I'm still hung up on this thing that I don't quite understand. In the finale of Game of Thrones, Daenerys went crazy, burned everything down, and then the weird-ass bird boy became king?
I would say that's generally a summary.
Oh, I'm just done watching these white people shows. Does Empire still come on?
Mr. Mueller, I have one question and one question only. Where is the clitoris?
I refer you to the report for that.
Okay, well, I never learned to read, genius. I was too busy sleeping with women I couldn't satisfy, so maybe you can draw me a diagram or point it out in a Ken doll or something?
I'd have to pass on that.
Damn it! Guess I'll never know.
I auditioned for the Cats movie. You seen the trailer?
Yes?
Why does Ian McKellen have a major role?
He had some role, but not a major role.
Mm-hmm. But you would agree that I'd be way better than Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that.
Memory, all of...
I'm not going to talk about that.
Got it. Thank you for your service.
Great job, team. We tried.